Hello and welcome to the Spikecast. Oh no, wait a minute, that's not right. To Legends of Tabletop.
No, that was right.
Playing,
Yeah, that's not wrong.
We're going to be playing Runners tonight. We got our sixth session tonight. We are going to be heading back to Ingram theoretically, but I'll kick it over to Jesse. Let him give us a recap, and we'll get into it.
That's pretty much exactly what is going to be going on.
Boom, nailed it.
Right, good job. So yeah, you guys had last session had made it to Sabatha, turned in your cargo, gotten your reward, hung out a little bit, healed up from some radiation damage, and kind of just putzed around a little bit, basically until you were ready to go the next morning. Got another job to return some supplies back to Ingram, and that's what you did. So you left, made your way through the kind of shopping portion of the former city, where you did come across one of the two runners that you had run into previously. And Smokey and Zuchy did a good job of kind of keeping Hux away from having a nervous breakdown when going through there. Even though Hux did run into a little bit of a complication, almost falling off a bridge, but saved it. It worked. Yeah, and then you made it over the city under the bridge, and on your way to the other side. So at this moment, our team of runners is now making it back on through, and hopefully finding their way back to Ingram safely and with plenty of energy left. So I will say, so there's one change that I'm making kind of to the map layout. Mostly it has to do, I didn't think it through completely the first way through. But in kind of sussing out some mapping rules for runners in general, I realized that I had kind of made a mistake that I probably wouldn't have made the first time through. And just kind of has to do with the order of events that happened. That big shopping center that you first came across probably shouldn't have been the first thing that you came across, because that was the main target of that particular attack.
Oh, okay.
Which means that the knolls should probably be further away from that. That shouldn't have rested right up against Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I'm doing is taking the area of the shopping area of that mega mall, putting that in the middle of the run, and then taking the Kodiak porcupines that you had encountered, that their kind of territory, and basically taking the two and swapping them,
Okay.
which makes a little more sense. It doesn't change anything really. You still have those two things to deal with, just in a slightly different order is all.
Sure.
So, all right. So yeah, at this moment, so that the only reason I bring that up is because it is going to affect kind of what we do right next.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
So, all right. So at this moment, you are now kind of hoofing your way through the desiccated city as this small kind of boutique shopping area begins to give way to larger and larger buildings, until eventually the giant span of this massive parking lot with brambles and weeds and bushes and shrub kind of looms in front of you at this moment. And the opposite side of it, you see birthing from the ground the massive structure of the mega mall.
Okay. I guess as it's coming up, then Huxley says, should we take the tunnel again? I mean, the radiation up here is really bad, and you guys took a lot of radiation on the way in, so maybe we should go under. Just still work.
Granted, nobody else. Well, hold on. Granted, nobody is messed with whatever's down there.
Yeah, I don't see a reason not to use it to go back. But remember, we've got this in our back pocket for some information when we get back to see if anyone else has found the trick that we did to get in. So let's just double check to make sure, as Zuchy said, that no one else has been around to steal our secret.
Okay, I mean, well, it's quicker, so we should have a little bit of time to look around, but we shouldn't wait too long.
No, not super investigating. Just keep your eyes peeled in case we see some extra footsteps that weren't there before.
Okay, we'll do. And then I guess start angling towards if this area looks familiar, or pull up the hollow map.
Mm-hmm.
And see if we can, find our exit tunnel.
Absolutely, yeah. So you had marked. We'll say that any large points of interest like that, you'll generally mark on your map, right, as points of interest.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of makes sense. So you are able to make your way through the parking lot and to the tunnel entrance that you had previously used.
Okay.
And it again is one of those kind of, large New York style subway entrances with, the massive sets of probably 6 or so escalators that have now been destroyed and massacred, that are kind of now slumped down, in this big torn up sign that says, tram entrance E.
And we didn't have any light last time, right? Or we turned lights on while we were down there or something like that?
You had the lights of the tram that you were riding, and that was it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we talked about that we had some low light headlamps.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like, the light down in the tram itself isn't going to be existent.
Gotcha.
Isn't going to be there. But yes, you guys have like a couple, basically like mag light flashlights built into your helmets. So
is the tram we used, is it on this side? Or did someone drive it back? I guess that
is where you left it.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a big thing to see if anyone else has been down here, if it's actually there.
Do we need to make a roll to descend? Or is that fairly simple?
No, I mean, it is something that you had been able to make your way up with no problem. So, and it's not like too steep that you're gonna kind of get too messed up going down it. So I think you should be okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Huxley starts down. Like, of course the tram is here because we parked it here. Why wouldn't it be? Who would take it?
Yeah, I think Zuchy would probably go before anybody else, because after what happened to Huxley at that other spot, he would be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get my footing here first, just in case, and if there's any like anything that might be of like note, then I would call back to Huxley and Smokey.
So now just Smokey will be taking up the rear, just swiveling around, just checking to see if he notices anything. Not that it could be anything different, right? It's abandoned, but if anything jumps out at him, not literally, Jesse, just figuratively.
How many times have I said this? Don't suggest things for him to do. Gosh, you guys.
It's just like if they, I guess extra, like you said, extra footprints or, scrapes along the wall or, any of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So effectively, our marching order right now then is going to be Zuchy, Huxley, Smokey. Is
Yep.
that what we have?
Mhm.
All right.
Would you like awareness rolls?
Well, actually, yes. So, anything that you want to do, so Zuchy, you said that you're keeping an eye out, right? You're purposely looking for marks of anything, right?
Yes.
Huxley, what are you doing right now?
Mr. Smokey said to take a look around and see if everything, see if anything looks different. So I'm gonna be looking around.
Sounds good. And Smokey?
I'm gonna be kind of half looking around, checking on
Mhm.
stuff, but then also keeping an eye on Huxley and Zuchy. So I'm not completely focusing. So I'm kind of splitting. Smokey's kind of splitting his attention between the other two and just looking around.
Got ya. All right, yeah, in that case, go ahead and do awareness checks, and we'll call this brains because it's like an active searching.
At 5 high.
Nice. And your DC is your DL is going to be a 3. So
5.
6, baby.
whoa, 3 yes ands. So yeah, I will say as you are making your way down the broken escalator, you actually Zuchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give all three of you your yeses first, and then you can supplant in an and afterwards. So Zuchy is the first to notice that some of the area down here seems to have been smoothed out slightly, almost as if somebody, or either someone or something, kind of purposely packed down the area kind of towards the bottom of where the ramp where the escalators were. Huxley, you notice that so there were lights and everything all in this area, that this had been relatively untouched, at least the last time that you would come through. This time, though, the lights, kind of the can lights running along the ceiling, along the middle of this path, have actually been broken. And Smokey, you can see that there are no tracks, but weirdly no tracks. Almost like a certain area has been cleaned, had been scrubbed of anything that had made a path here.
Okay.
And then we'll go around. Zuchy, what's your hand?
I want to know what did the smoothing out at the bottom of the stairs.
Well, give me the and on that. You tell me what did the smoothing out.
Zamboni.
What have we done?
A giant purple
A
worm.
bunch of marshmallows. Trying to think of the most sensitive thing that wouldn't harm us.
So this is at the bottom of the ramp, you're saying.
How
So
about
that's
this?
where
I can
Zucky's
tell.
looking.
All right. How about I'll give it? I'll kind of lay in with your and. All right. So you want to know what created this?
Yes.
It was very clearly a person, a man-made thing. So it looks like it's actually something that had been kind of dug up a little bit and then packed back down. So this very clearly looks like done by a person.
At the bottom of Zuchy's. That's at the bottom of.
Yeah, it's probably about 5 or 6 meters off from you guys.
Okay.
as you're seeing this a little bit ahead of you, kind of in your headlamps.
Yeah.
Hux.
I think this is a low hanging fruit, but the tram is still there. I mean, it doesn't mean that it works, but it's still there.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah. And Smokey.
I'm completely at a loss. Oh, crap.
Find a pack of cigarettes and they're not irradiated.
It can be anything you want. Remember, it doesn't have to be connected necessarily to exactly what's going on. Like John just did, you know, the tram is here, so it offers you guys something. You can feed off of what John just said. You can add something new.
So, as you were saying, that when we were walking in, it with tram line E, I think that's what you said, whatever that is, there's like a little metal, like a metal sign saying that, giving the name of the mall, and then, tram line E or whatever. So, just like, not like a full sheet of paper sized one, like something smaller that just like it would be like on the wall that it's laying there. So I'm going to pick that up and put it in my pack.
Nice.
A little bit more evidence that when we go back, we can show people what we discovered.
Not bad. There you go. All right. So how are you going forward with this? So you have the very clearly cleaned out area, packed down surface down at the bottom of this ramp, and your tram just just on the edge of your lamplight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait with everything going on. I would think, because I think all of us, it's not like we would all discover something and then like all stop or whatever, but I will shout, well, not shout. I'll just, raise my voice a bit to say, I've noticed something strange. Maybe we should stop for a second, just to get our bearings on what's going on. Now, I don't want Zuchy to keep marching down to this area. And, if Huxley's noticed something, I just want us to, I noticed that obviously someone or something's been through to cover track. So I just want to stop everybody so we can discuss it real quick.
Yeah. So I think like when you say that, Huxley's just like, I think it looks like there were lights here before, and it looks like they're broken. I wonder if the power overloaded.
Yeah, and the ground looked like it's been swept or pushed around. That I told everybody to keep an eye on any extra set of tracks, but not seeing any tracks is a bit worrying also. So obviously something has gone on, or something's gone on here. So it might be better just to slow down a bit and keep our eyes even more peeled than they were before.
Do you think somebody's down here?
Don't know, but how high up are the lights? We're saying like 10, 15 feet. Is that the ceiling height?
Well, this was a massive mall. So you're probably looking more like a not necessarily like a New York or a Boston subway system,
so it's
but
not
more
the
like DC. It's like those large tunnels. So it's probably about 40 or so feet up.
Okay, so that's like the actual area. It's not like the tunnel or the going onto the escalator, where it's a bit smaller. It is actual the full...
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. So Smokey will tilt his head up and kind of look and say, if someone's down here and broke those lights, hopefully it's still not down here, because that's pretty high up. Is there anything we can tell? Like, Huxley said, maybe there was a power surge, or it just looks like bulbs are burst, right? It's not like fixtures are ripped out, or, what are we looking at?
Yeah, it looks like so it's like the like the fluorescent tube lights, basically with the plastic covering over it.
Yeah.
And it looks like those have been shattered.
Okay. Okay, that kind of leads to your theory, maybe Huxley, that there was some kind of power surge. If it's just the glass and the casings that are, the coverings that are blown off.
Well, I mean, the tram is still here, so as long as there's power, we should be able to just, take the tram back. Should be okay.
And you said some of the lights are not all of them, right? So there are still some lights that are on and working or intact.
So nothing's on.
Okay.
But the ones kind of right near the entrance of the tunnel, like where the escalator hits the main tram entranceway, all of the lights in that area have been shattered.
Okay. And I'm making the assumption that this is an escalator down, right? Not an escalator up. We're going down into something.
Well, I mean, it's at this point the escalator is broken and it's more like a ramp than anything else anyway.
We're going down. We're going down a ramp like you would be going.
Yes,
into
you're going down. Yeah.
So Smokey's just gonna look around, look down the ramp, look up again, just trying to come up with something that would explain. I think Smokey probably thinks Huxley's guess is probably right. It was a power surge. So Smokey will say, Lord knows the last time that any power went through before we flipped it back on. So maybe just that jolt of us using it when we took the tram over, maybe that just maybe we forgot to shut it off after we got out and the power just kind of kept going.
Maybe. He Huxley kind of like casts about. There's no controls or anything on this side, right? Like we broke into or opened up a door that was on the control room on the opposite side, right? If I remember correctly.
That's what
I mean. There's logic dictates that there's probably like a maintenance room in every transfer area. So like every platform, that's the word I'm looking for. It would make sense that there was some sort of maintenance facility in each platform, right?
I don't think Huxley would grok that though, right? I mean, he would have no experience. Like he would look to see if there was like a control panel, and not seeing anything would just kind of like shrug that.
Yeah. Well, you guys haven't actually made your way onto the platform yet. You're still a handful of meters above that, still on the rampway.
Yeah. Okay. Hard pause for a sec. Kurt, did you get everything squared away?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. All right.
There you
go. So we are still on the steps coming down. We shared your information since you weren't here. Huxley postulated that perhaps there was power surge that broke the lights, and not because someone is creating an obvious ambush for us to walk into. So we're at that spot, just trying to
and the fact that there were no footsteps, kind of led Smokey to believe that a complete lack of footsteps is probably more intriguing than an extra set of footsteps. So I think Huxley and Smokey are both more alert now that something's going on.
Yeah.
And then if you're standing there, because we stopped and we started talking, so.
Okay.
I think Huxley's less alert than you're making him alert. He's convinced that there's a power surge, probably blew the lights out. Yeah. And, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the footsteps thing, stuff being tamped down, maybe a little that's weird. So you told me to watch out, so I'm going to watch out. But that's the extent of his
I don't. Zuchy will be like, I almost wonder if there's maybe a trap laid for us. The whole smoothing out of everything. I don't know. I don't trust it. Maybe something's underneath.
But why would somebody do that?
Huxley, let me tell you a little something about life. Sometimes in life, there are good people and there are bad people. You have met a lot of good people, and there are a lot of bad people in life that just want to make it more difficult for people, sometimes for no damn good reason at all. So this is kind of what I am speaking of. The whole like smoothing out something is easy way to hide your tracks or hide something else that may go kaboom or crunch. I hope it's none of the two. And I hope you're right. I hope we live in a hippy dippy world where everything is just fine. But I don't know. I don't think we live in that world.
This has all been so confusing. They just told us to take the call to the other place. I don't understand why. Okay. I mean, should we go back out? I mean, the tram is there. If we get on the tram, I mean, we should be able to make it back, right? I mean,
well, that's if we can make it to the tram. Let's make it to the tram first.
So I think you said, Jesse, Zuchy was 5 or 6 meters or feet back from where he noticed where Zuchy noticed the stuff tamped down, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he's about 6 meters from the bottom of the ramp, which is where all this is kind of tapped out.
Okay, so
and then I'm assuming you guys are, within at least a couple meters of each other. So yeah.
I'm gonna walk up to Zuchy and I'll wave Huxley up and say, "You guys stay here. I'm gonna go down and get a closer look." I'm not going to step on, I'm not going to go any forward. I'm going to stay on the ramp before we get to that part before I get to that part that's tamped down. And I'll say, if someone has laid a trap, let's spring it back on them. And he winks and starts walking down, and I'm going to grab some of my blast paste out of my suit, and I'm going to go down and I'm still going to be on the ramp, not to where the resettled area is, and I'm going to put some blast paste on it and then run back up the ramp.
Nice. All right, so why don't you go ahead and give me let's call this, do you have demolitions or anything?
Oh, yes, of course.
Go ahead and give me a demolitions check. And let's call it just a DL3.
Okay.
Just to kind of make sure that it doesn't, explode on you.
Yeah, my only skill is that. Well, no, I have one other one, but yeah, all my stuff's loaded in a couple. 4.
Jesus.
Nice. Wow. That's a yes. You just made it. So yeah, you're able to kind of take the blast paste and lay it down so that, it won't go off until you want it to.
Okay. So I will, I'll put the blast paste down. And then I'm not going to start running back up the hill then, right? If I would have got a 3, maybe I would have been running up the hill.
Yeah.
But
so so with blast paste, basically it lays down wet.
Yeah.
And then after a few moments, a handful of seconds, probably like 20 to 30 seconds, once it dries, that's when the chemical reaction kicks in and it will automatically trigger.
Okay. So I'll slowly walk back up the ramp to the guys, and then you hear Smokey counting down, 5, 4, 3, and then he'll point to you guys and then put his hands, obviously mockingly over his ears, or oh no, I'll say this. So I'll put my hands over my ear area and just say, you might want to turn off your external mics for a minute. And then
What did
Then
you do?
2, 1,
Awesome.
finish the countdown. I think-
Yeah. So
1 square
When,
meter, right?
you know-
So it's not a gigantic super duper explosion. I just put a little bit down.
yeah. So you see it kind of begin to dry as it turns from that bright white to kind of a slight gray as all the air as the moisture evaporates out of it. And then as soon as it starts to crack, you see kind of the spark in between the cracks and the explosion goes off. And then there's a secondary explosion that goes off as whatever was underneath the ramp
Sorry, guys.
is ignited, and the entire bottom of the ramp and the opening portion of the platform just erupts with smoke and chunks of rubble and all of the formica and tile and everything that's all in this area just gets shot up out of the ground. I would like all three of you to give me a
Grace check.
why can't a grace roll? If you have anything to do with acrobatics or anything like that, go ahead and add that in. And it's
we
gonna
know
be
Zuchy has acrobatics. You didn't have to highlight that.
There you go. And it's going to be a DL4.
Sorry.
Considering you're kind of on a ramp, slightly clear.
I got a 6.
Nice.
I
What
got a
did
4.
you do?
Oh shit.
Man overboard.
Well, that dice is gone forever.
Oh no.
Yep, and I hope that this one that I roll right now is good. Otherwise, oh boy. I lost that one. Why can't I roll on?
This
I
is
have a
not a
dice
good.
tray. I can't even roll into it. Oh, it's a 7. Thank God.
I got a
Beautiful.
4.
There you go.
Yeah, I had
It's
2
a
2s. That
7.
was not going to work.
All right. So you guys, this explosion goes off, and Smokey's trying to look all cool with like the explosion behind him and everything. And so he doesn't see this secondary ignition. So Hux and Zuchy, you're able to kind of like, you see the minor explosion go off, and then all of a sudden you see kind of the rumble and the in the quick burst of the fire that comes out of this secondary shock. So you two are able to hit the ground and avoid this kind of rumble that comes through of this shockwave. Smokey, you are you kind of hear it.
If you're going where I think you're going, I've got something really good, but let's see where you're going.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Yeah. So you hear it. So you're able to kind of move out of the way slightly in time. John, you had your hand up.
Well, because I got an and. I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can I then also grab, pull Smokey down so he's out of the blast then? So like, we're all watching and there's like this little poof, and then like this larger explosion starts to rumble. And since we're watching it, can I just like yank him down behind like the wall or whatever?
Let's see what Kevin wanted to say first and see which narrative plays out better.
We will play both of them together, right? So
yeah.
The second one goes off. Huxley screams at Smokey, and Smokey will kind of just like put his arms up like a shrug and go, and he'll say, I sprung the trap. And then if Huxley goes to grab Smokey and pull him down, we'll say a big chunk of something flies, and it would have, went right through the back of his suit. But maybe let's just say it glances off the side, and now Smokey has like a nice little spider pattern pattern right in the corner of the glass on the front of
Oh,
his mask.
nice. There you go.
So instead of taking it full in the back of the head or in the front, it glances off and have a nice little spiderweb tattoo on my on this side of my on the
Perfect.
side of the glass on my helmet.
It's now a beauty scar. You have a battle scar. There you go.
To go with all the other ones.
Right. Kurt, your and.
I think for my end, I think what would happen is, and if there's any debris that fall out of the top of the entry or whatever, that he will just get in the way of, like, almost like he watches Huxley grab Smokey and he's like, fuck, that's what I wanted to do. And then after they're kind of down on the ground, he'll just kind of flop on top of them. So then if any debris fall from the top of the ceiling, it would hit him instead of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of lay yourself in a way that, like, any of the debris that hits you kind of like scrapes off. So, you'll get kind of some scrapes and maybe a couple of dents in your armor, but nothing that can't be just kind of knocked out and buffed over.
Yeah.
And you kind of protect them from that, at this point, tertiary falling of all the debris from the ceiling itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the three of you now kind of in a small huddle with Smokey at the bottom, Huxley playing the peanut butter, and then Zuchy, man on the mountain.
So Smokey will say, I shouldn't take credit for how that turned out, but I guess if you said something off and it triggers something else, you got to take credit for it. So, is everyone, so Smokey will ask, is everyone all right? Is everyone okay? No damage, nothing flying other than just what hit me. You guys all right?
I think so. Are we able? Is there? I don't remember if mine has a heads up display or not. If it does, I don't. Nope. He just kind of like passed himself down, I guess.
Yeah.
I think so. Everything feels like it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything connected, everything fine.
Zuchy doesn't answer that, but he goes, Smokey?
Yes, Zuchy?
When you were taught about demolitions, did you ever talk about safety?
No, I wasn't expecting whatever was down there to be explosive underneath it. I was expecting it to be a big giant hole that we'd fall into. So
it's weird. I've gotten hit in the head a few times now, and my recollection isn't as quite as good as it used to be. But I thought I remember saying that things might be buried to go boom boom or crunch crunch.
I think he did say that, Mr. Smokey.
I know you're a little older now, but you do have a heads-up display where you can turn that thing up a little bit. So when I warn you of things like that, we don't kill ourselves, right?
And then, Smokey will jokingly say, dissension in the ranks, everybody's turning on me. And just laugh and say, maybe I should have had you guys stay back a bit further. But it's better this way than us trying to walk across that and then going off. But I promise you too, I'll be a little bit more careful in the future. And he'll do the finger and thumb, a little bit more careful.
Well, do you think it's safe now? I mean, I wonder if the tram is still there.
So Smokey will turn around and look. How big of a crater have we left?
It's a decent size, but it's probably about 3 meters wide, almost entirely, or like long, almost the entire width of the tunnel, the entranceway. Only maybe about a meter and a half deep, though. So not horrible.
Okay. So, I mean, so Smokey will go back, he'll go down the ramp a bit closer and look it over a bit. Trying to think. So but you said 6 meters long. Is that? I keep getting 6 stuck
9
in my head. Okay. A meter deep.
Is the
Can I see anything? Sorry,
I was
go,
just
John.
going to say, is the bottom of the ramp gone? Like, do we have to? Like, is there a way for us to get down? Can we jump
Get
down?
closer
Can we,
to
like,
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll be able to get you'll be able to get down.
Down to
There's
the
just a nice big kind of trench at the
Okay.
bottom of it at this point.
Gotcha.
That you'll have to kind of like get down and across.
Sure.
But it's by no means anything that's gonna stop you from being able to get all the way across there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Smokey will get to the edge and he'll kind of, he'll crouch down and he'll kind of look at it and, say, I'm guessing this was supposed to take care of us even before we could get across. I don't think they were looking to block access. I think they were looking to block our lives when we stepped on it. So I think we could probably still keep going across to where the tram is. If Smokey's looking at it, so he's looking at the length of the hole and, the width's the whole, the whole way across. I mean, can I see anything on the ground, the 3 meters down? Is it, is anything standing out? Is there a bunch of pogo sticks on the bottom, sticking up?
Why don't you actually go ahead and give me a demolitions check.
Okay.
Using brains with this one though.
Okay, that is a 6.
Nice. So yeah, you actually when you're kind of looking at the bottom of this now pit, you see the scar marks and residue and everything. That it's very, very clear that there were explosives planted here.
So yeah, I think Smokey will say, yeah, this was meant to take us out, not stop us going forward. So I think
and it doesn't appear that there's any other kind of secondary
or anything to restrict us going across on the bottom. If you guys think it's if you guys feel safe enough to keep on marching forward, I would say that's probably the best thing to do. Everything on the bottom looks clear. It doesn't look like there's any kind of secondary explosives or traps set up, he says. in hopes and fingers crossed.
Well, I mean, the radiation's so bad up top. I mean, we should we have to be careful. He looks at Smokey and he unslings the huge rifle and he's like, do you want to take this?
I will take it. And if we're going to be careful, why don't you and Zuchy go first? And I will keep an eye on your back. We obviously made a lot of noise, so we'll see if anyone else comes up behind. But, so he will take it, but then he'll say, when we get to the other side and when we get back, you can have it back. I'm trying to think of a way to do it. This is yours to decide what to do with, but I'll use it now to keep cover. I want, Smokey really played up with Huxley that, this is his now. It's not his. He doesn't have to keep it, but he can get something out of it. So I want him to, if he's going to get some extra, some extra coin out of it, I want that, I don't want him to be. He doesn't have to become master sniper, but what he went through, he wants something to come out of the other end of this for Huxley.
Mm-hmm.
So once we get to the other side, I'll give it back, kid. But I'll keep an eye on you guys now.
Okay.
And as you said, we should probably be careful going across. So why don't you two go across and be careful? I don't know how good at being careful I am at the moment. So I just want that for you guys to go down and maybe walk gingerly, couple steps at a time, make sure nothing else gives out, and I'll just keep an eye because obviously we did make a lot of noise. So I'll keep scanning back. I'll look behind and then look down to make sure those guys are all right. And, keep doing that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Huxley will start to climb down. Mr. Smokey said it's okay. We should go. So
all right.
Yeah, if Zuchy actually sees that Smokey is actually trying to be safe and actually like looking at everything, he's trust him this time to be okay.
Yeah, I haven't pulled out any more blasting paste. The blast paste is still, the rest of it's still in my suit.
There you go. All right, so yeah, you guys are kind of cautiously now making your way. You're down at the end of the ramp, and you're going to make your way across that new trench over on the other side on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you kind of lower yourselves down. Like I said, it's only like 1.5 meters maybe that you get down. And you walk across that, short distance and begin to kind of climb yourselves out on the other side. Why don't the three of you go ahead and give me either brains or psyche, depending on if you're actively searching or if you're just kind of trying to generally be aware of your surroundings.
I will say, I wanted to. So tell me, Jesse, if this ruins what you're thinking. But once they got more than like halfway across, right, and they're going forward, I'll focus. I'll swing my attention to ahead.
Perfect.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about what's behind me. If they're across, I'm gonna. Once they got some moving, I wanted to see what's ahead of them too. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. So that's going to be a brains awareness then. You're actively looking.
Yeah, ahead.
Fuck, I got another 6.
Nice.
I have no skills. I'm just rolling high.
5.
Yeah, I rolled 2 6s.
Nice. What was
there
our
you
DL?
go.
You didn't tell us.
No, you didn't tell us.
No, because it's an opposed roll.
Oh shit.
Zuchy, do you have any bonuses or anything to the roll, or
I actually do not.
Okay, sounds good. So we got a 6, a 6, and a 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good. So that means that we have 2 yes buts and 1 no butt. So the we'll say the no butt is Smokey. You do not see what is about to come. Maybe you're kind of looking more towards the tram, more down that way of the platform. Whereas this comes more towards from like the wall side. Yeah. We'll probably say from like a corridor off to the side.
Well, that would make sense if we could actually see the tram now, right? That was Huxley's big point. Hopefully the tram's still here. I'll be looking. Oh, there's the tram. That would obviously take take Smokey's line of sight. Would be looking
exactly. Yeah. So you don't notice what's incoming, but
actually the butt's yours.
Yeah, the butt's yours.
The
butt's
no, if it was an and, it would be mine.
Oh, is it?
No, the
yes bad thing in this case. The and is the bad thing, but
because I failed. So the no. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will say, Smokey. Once I saw the guys were 3/4 of the way,
Yeah.
And I'm disregarding what's behind us now because they've gone forward. I'll have slid down and started walking, walking towards
Sounds
them.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put yourself a little bit closer to them at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they get past the halfway point, I look back real quick.
Yeah.
Nothing's there. I'll slide down and start walking towards them.
Perfect. Sounds good. So it's actually pretty much as Smokey's like sliding down into the trench.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
This massive suit comes running from the side. It's kind of tarred black, bodged together. And it has just like random streaks of different colors of paint kind of thrown across it. But more so in like it looks haphazard, but at the same time weirdly supplies a good amount of camouflage for this area with all of like the bright colors of the signs and the paintings and murals that used to exist on the walls and everything. But yeah, so at this point now you have this massive suited reaver with this giant two-handed mallet, almost like an old-fashioned warhammer, just barreling at you. So the two of you, Huxley and Zuchy, do see this, but you unfortunately are like making your way up onto the other side of the platform at this point and are not able to get out of the way in time as he begins to just line this thing up with Huxley's head.
Oh no.
What would the three of you like to do?
Can I just slide back down? Like if I'm trying to climb out and he's getting ready to do one of these, then I just want to just let myself slide back down again.
Sounds good. All right. Zuchy.
So we're doing it at the same time.
Yeah, so at this point, you see this guy come out from a side corridor, and he is lining up a shot on Huxley.
Okay, so is he doing the thing where he's coming up from his head, or is he coming from the side? How is it coming at him?
He's coming up from the side. So he's coming from the side, and he's not like bringing it down. He's like almost like two-handed, like
croquet or something like that.
Baseball swing.
Yeah. So I think what
like
Zuchy
a sledgehammer to a
what Zuchy would try to do is he would try to grab it and try to just use his whole weight to pull it out of his hands.
Ooh, nice. All right. How about Smokey? So
I'm assuming from the way John has played Huxley, I'm assuming when Huxley sees that, there's going to be a loud shriek or yell, right? That's my guess, right? If Huxley's surprised, there's going to be some kind of noise coming from them. So if I hear something from them, which doesn't sound like, like a surprise or something, I will, obviously swing, focus my attention on, I've been kind of looking at the other side where the tram is, but I'll swing back and look to where those are and focus more on those two and see what's going on. So, like if I'm holding it, I'll swing over to where they're at. So I'm in line of sight with them.
Sounds good. All right.
And you probably try to keep moving a bit quicker now.
Nice. So are you going to actually try to like take a shot off on this guy, or are you?
I think we're at the point now. Yeah, I think we're just at the point now or the point Smokey's at now is he hears something. Obviously, he's got that, and his focus is going to take it with him to where he's looking, and he's going to speed up a bit when he sees that.
Well, you could see us, right? I mean, we're in the pit. The pit's like,
yeah. Well, I think what Kevin's doing is playing into the fact that he actually missed
completely
the awareness.
Yeah, because I was focusing on the tram, thinking,
So which is perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so in that case, we'll go ahead. Huxley, grace roll for kind of dodging out of the way and sliding down into the trench. Does that make sense?
Yes, I was going to say, is that full defense then? It's like he just drops himself and is like
Well, we could do it one of two ways. You could just straight up take a full defense and take that extra armor bonus. Or if you want to be a little more proactive with it, I'll give you the grace roll to slide out of the way and avoid the attack.
Sounds
Whichever
like
way
John-
you want to play it.
John doesn't trust his dice. That's what I'm.
Well,
That's-
no. Well, so the full defense. So that's my action for the turn. So it's still
Yes,
a grace
exactly,
roll
yeah.
+2. Is what it is. I mean, unless you're playing it.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go with that. Perfect.
Yep. So,
I like
yeah, that's what I'm doing then.
Perfect. Zuchy, we'll go either grace or might, however you want to kind of play this disarmament. And then whatever skill you want, like martial
Like
arts, will be perfect.
Athletics, maybe.
Athletics too. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that. And what about Kevin? What do you think about for Smokey? Do you want to actually roll something, or do you just want to kind of say that you get, like, you're gonna make your way over to the platform or closer to them?
I guess
I'll let you put Smokey wherever you want in this respect.
Okay, I was just going to say Smokey's not going to if he sees Huxley making a move down and he sees Zuchy making a move to attack, or whatever he's doing, I'm not going to take a shot, right? Because Zuchy's there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was just going to say, depending on if it's grace or health or whatever, I was just going to say, just so Smokey gets his ass as close as he can to them now.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't want to take a shot right now.
Yeah. So I won't make you roll for that to kind of
Okay.
get close to them. So if you want to be right with them,
Yeah.
or if you want to be up on the platform, whatever you want, I'll let you be
Okay.
there. So, all right. So in this case, for Hux and Zuchy, what rolls do we have?
I got 6 total.
6 total.
Not great.
What was your roll?
Roll was 4.
Roll was 4. Zuchy?
I got a 4 + 1.
Nice.
Oh, I'm gonna get murdered. It's fun, guys.
All right.
From Kurt's roll, you're going to get hit by Zuchy, right? He's going to get wrapped around the mall and go into you.
All right. So the Reaver ended up actually getting an 8.
Oof.
So that's going to be just a yes, because you have the 5 and then the +2 from the defense, or the 4. What we
4
have
plus
4
2.
+ 1, and then, or
So-
4 + 2, right?
Yeah. So to hit me, he's got to beat the 6 because the defense counts as part of the. It's not just a die roll. 'cause of the
Exactly, yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
But that still
So he
beats by
actually got
2.
the 8, so that's going to be a yes and for him.
Yep.
Um,
I'm
So-
concussed.
So yeah, he actually runs over with the hammer and just smashes it right up onto the side of your head, to the point where your head actually whacks around in the helmet. And so that's going to be so with his massive hammer, that's actually going to be 2 brains harm. And we'll call you like concussed, call you dazed for the next frame.
And then I'm going to be at a -1 from here on out
Okay.
because I have two harm, but that's an XP for getting hurt. So
Yeah.
yay me.
Don't worry about that negative. Don't worry about that for now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just let me know when you hit 0 on a stat.
Okay. But
That's
I
all
am going
we'll
to
worry
be
about.
unable to act on my next turn, then being dazed, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that's going to be kind of the effect. Instead of doing a little extra damage to you, we'll just smash you with it and kind of, daze you as your head kind of rings and your vision goes blurry and everything for the next moment.
And I assume then that I slide into the bottom of the hole. Then.
Yeah, right. All right. Next, Zuchy, you had a 5, so you had the 4 plus 1. All right. So that is actually going to be a no butt. So you are able to run up, kind of grab the hammer, and you try, like, after he smashed it into Huxley, you run up, try to grab the hammer, and you are unsuccessful at kind of getting it out of his grip. But
So I'm unable to get it out of his grip, but I hold on to it as well.
nice. Okay, yeah. I
And
like that.
I'm not basically like, you're gonna regret what you just did.
Perfect. All right. So at this moment, we have Hux has kind of slid down into the trench, losing sense at the moment. Smokey is rushed over, putting himself right next to his 2 friends, and Zuchy has clung on to the hammer of this Reaver desperately, putting himself kind of now as an imposition to this man. Huxley, we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Smokey and Zuchy.
Tweety birds.
Right.
Okay, so I'm assuming so Zuchy's still up, right? So he's standing next to the Reaver. So
He's right next to him. Literally, they're both kind of vying for control of this hammer at this point.
so he's not like down on his knees or anything like that. Okay, so
Right,
so Smokey will take a quick look down to Huxley to make sure he's not there is some movement, or and there's not just there's a red
He's
mist inside
probably
of his
not-
helmet or anything.
right, yeah.
He's probably not moving, right? Because he's dazed and
Okay.
just is hearing.
Well, yeah. I mean,
ringing.
but there's probably still movement to you, right? You're not just laying completely still.
Well, I mean, if
I
someone
don't-
gets
you ever
whacked
take
in
a
the
shot
head,
in the
usually
head?
there is a bit of reaction, right? The body tenses up, or something. I think
Exactly. Yeah.
Smokey's-
Even if there's not purposeful movement,
yeah.
Or maybe
right,
his
you
legs
probably
are like
have-
slowly kicking like back
Exactly,
and forth. It's
yep,
just
yep.
like- yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Like your
yeah, like
arms tense
slow
up.
squirming or like a
Yeah.
twitch of the arm or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's Smokey's just looking for that. Yeah, making sure he still has a helmet and a head, so that's still there.
Yep.
So what he'll just do real quickly, and then he'll line up the gun to the Reaver. Obviously, he's going to aim for the head. If he's standing there,
Yep.
right, he's going to point it up and just scream stop, and see if there's any reaction. But he's going to be lined up when he does it.
Nice. All right.
I don't want to
And
shoot yet
Zuchy.
because she's still there.
Well, but so again, right? This is up to Jesse. There's no shooting into melee rules for quarter, right?
There is
So,
not.
like,
No.
if you get a no end, then maybe you hit Zuchy.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you hit him, if you hit the guy, you hit the guy, right?
But I think from Smokey, the way Smokey would think.
Yeah, no,
of it,
makes
right?
sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
it's not
From
a
a mechanics
consideration
Yeah, from a
mechanically
mechanics standpoint.
if you wanted to take a shot.
Yeah, but this is our first run, so Smokey's not like and he has a gun. He doesn't have anything,
Right,
for that.
right.
So his thing would be, okay, Zuchy's there. I want to make sure he's all right. I'm not going to shoot him. It's that playing into, making sure
Mhm.
everybody's all right. So
Totally.
Mhm.
yeah,
Are you aiming?
yeah. So I'm going to aim like,
mechanically?
yeah. So I'm like pointing it right at the thing's head when he screams,
There you go, yeah.
stop. So
Sounds good. So yeah, what we will do is, barring any other activity for this frame, you'll get a +2 if you do choose to shoot.
Okay.
Next time up.
okay.
Zuchy.
+2.
Zuchy
Yeah,
will
but-
actually still try to get this hammer out of his hands.
Sounds good. Are you going more of like a like trying to subtly like twist it and like trip it out of him, or are you just going brute force trying to rip it out?
I wanted to save that for the roll, if that's okay, because I had an idea if things go well.
Sounds good. I just want to know if you're going to be doing like might or grace. That's all.
It would be grace.
Grace sounds good. Perfect. All right. He's going to try to do kind of a similar thing. He's basically going to try to, although he's going might, he's going to try to brute force this thing away from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, everyone go ahead. Give me rolls.
Is this the roll?
Yeah, except for Hux.
Yeah. Okay.
You're down on the ground.
Did we miss that round already?
No.
Is it okay if I use acrobatics? Because that's kind of what I was thinking.
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a 7 for me. 6 + 1.
Nice. What about Smokey?
Smokey still wasn't gonna. Okay.
Oh, that's right. You just want you want to kind of take this as like a caution kind of round, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to see. I guess also see what Zuchy does. Like Zuchy's still up the same height and whatever. If Zuchy does his thing and then rolls away or drops down, then I wanted to see what he did first.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So Zuchy, with your 7 is better than my 5, so you actually get a yes and on this.
Nice. So what I was thinking of doing is using the momentum of Zuchy was going to use the momentum of his body to hold the thing, then just kind of jump up in almost kind of a backflip to kick his hand to make him lose that grip. And then as soon as he lost the grip, he would flip over and use the hammer to hit him where his kneecap kind of is.
Oh, nice. Are you trying to like actually damage him, or are you trying to damage the suit?
Well, at this point, because of what he did to Huxley, I'm definitely damaging him.
Nice. Sounds good. I'll allow it. I like it. All right. Let's see. Okay. And yeah, he actually loses the grip of this. He's ready for like a fight with you, right? And you just pull this like aerial maneuver that throws him completely off guard, using his own momentum against him. And you, as soon as you do this, and then you take it and kind of swing him, catching him in his knee, clipping that out, and he actually falls down to the ground. His entire left leg just splaying out, and he goes just down with his left foot completely losing traction, falling down onto the ground, landing on one knee. So he is down and prone on the ground at this point. So we have the Reaver down on the ground. Huxley, you're kind of starting to come to. Your vision kind of 3 things combined into one eventually. As this big hulking dude is kind of laid out on the ground a few feet away from you.
Oh, is he down in the hole too?
He's down in the hole now too. Yeah.
I think my action for this frame is to kind of crawl away, like turn. So like I'm on my stomach. So he's kind of like crawling and sort of like turning over, and he's fumbling for the gun, right? Like this guy just hit, like he doesn't want to hurt anybody, but like this guy almost just fucking killed me, and he really doesn't know what to do. He can't see, and his ears are ringing, and his eyes are watering, and there's like 2 of the guy laying on the ground, and he's just sort of fumbling, like just to keep him away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nice. All right. So you're going to reach for the gun at this point? Sounds good. And are you going at this point too? Or are you kind of just doing that? Or are you going in like actually trying to kind of, so you are putting distance between you? Are you trying to also be defensive at this point? Or are you just kind of more
I don't think
concentrating on putting distance and getting the gun out?
Yeah, I don't think he's cognizant enough. Like he's full lizard brain. Like, yeah,
absolutely. All right, Smokey.
If the thing's down with me and Huxley, he'll obviously see Huxley, struggling and sliding back, reaching, and he'll shout, calm down, just sit down, calm down. And then Smokey will put his foot like on the chest of this thing and like line up the gun he has like right to its helmet, and kind of be shouting, turning his head and shouting to Huxley, just sit down and take a couple deep breaths. We got this. It's all right. Just sit down and calm down. And I'll be staring, and then go back and stare at the thing with the gun lined up to its helmet.
Nice. All right.
I think he's just kind of keening right now, like, my fucking head, my head.
And Zuchy.
Why?
I think Zuchy will kind of just hold his turn just to see.
He's looking over the edge down.
Yeah, exactly. Just to see what he does next, and then he'll
his
react.
Elbow, points.
Yeah, Zuchy would probably be like, I think the next action that you decide upon, you might want to think upon it.
All right. So yeah, this guy's kind of like hunched over on the ground, like facing the ground at this moment. And you just hear like a clang as he slams his hand up to his chest. And then he rolls over onto his back and like pulling his hand away. It leaves this almost goopy, stringy substance. And he has this kind of white, messy handprint on his chest at this point.
He's predatoring us.
Smokey, Zuchy, you have demolitions, right? As well?
No, I don't.
Oh, no? Okay. So in that case, Smokey, you recognize this right away as blast paste.
On his the handprint he just put on. Okay, yes. I gotcha. So Smokey will scream, "Run!" And he'll grab Huxley by the arm and try to drag him away. And he'll he'll push Huxley and have his back to the thing on the ground while he's pushing Huxley. And he'll wave his other arm to Zuchy and scream again, "Run!"
I think you're mostly drag pushing me, like up on like hands and knees to try to like.
Well, let's do that then. So once he's done waving to Zuchy to run, Smokey will put his his arms underneath your arms, and almost if he's like standing over you and kind of dragging you, but he wants to make sure most of your body is in front of him, except for your feet sticking out the back while I'm dragging you. But yeah, we'll do it that way.
Yeah, I think Zuchy would just run the other way and try to jump out of the way, basically.
Yeah, because you're still up on the top, so you can just go straight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys one frame to get away. Roll whatever you want. If you want to roll grace to run, health as like an endurance type thing, brains to find cover, whatever you want. You have to beat a DL 7.
Does my +2 count for this, or was that just for shooting them?
Unfortunately, just for the shooting.
Well, so I rolled 2 6s and a 4.
No,
if I'm not taking any negatives.
You're not taking any negatives right now.
Okay, so I have no skill, so I rolled a 6.
All right, there you go.
6 with no skill.
Nice.
Okay.
So 2 no butts.
2 yes butts.
Or yes. No,
No.
because we missed by one.
Oh, no, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I'm going to use my athletics to try to get as far away as possible, and with that, that's a 7 with my 6.
Oh, that's a yes, but.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, you all three of you begin to kind of like scramble out, and Zuchy, you manage to get far enough away that you are not caught up in the blast.
But
But in the process, he's kind of near, he's almost like leaning up near the entrance, where there is a structural beam, a structural element to it. So when that goes off, basically it's going to collapse a sizable portion of the tunnel. Huxley and Smokey, you do not manage to make it away from the tunnel, from the blast. So let's say each of you are going to take
12 damage.
Each of you will take 3 grace damage.
Oh, puts me at 0.
puts me at
Oh,
-1.
Well,
It
luckily the lowest you
transfers-
can go is 0.
Yeah, it transfers to the next logical thing, so probably might or health.
Yeah,
I would say might sounds
sure, yeah.
okay. Current one. All right.
So yes, the both of you get enveloped in this massive explosion. Pieces of his suit just go flying, and you just hear as metal just slams against you. And probably like shards of it too are going into your, you actually feel the sting in your legs and in your shoulders as the shrapnel just pierces into you. But
I was gonna say, go. You go first.
I was gonna say that, but the suit's not compromised, right? So we're not being exposed to continuous radiation. Then, like there's sort of like a
sounds good.
sort of a self-sealing or whatever. I don't know. Like narratively, everything is perfect, but mechanically, I don't know. Does the suit then protect against any of that damage? Because we all technically have an armor.
True.
Should it be 2 damage instead of 3? I mean, I don't know how that works. I just like.
Well,
as
actually,
a
let's
mechanical
see. The
point.
armor. So mechanically, the armor will it makes you harder to hit, right? It doesn't. It's not damage reduction, right? It actually increases. So, like in battle, right? In combat, when you have armor, it makes you harder to hit, right?
That's not necessarily true, right? 2 knights aren't any harder to hit
in terms of
other?
rolls, right? In terms of a roll,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
It makes you harder to hit.
Sure.
Right. So what we'll do actually in this instance is we'll take that armor and put it towards your roll. So we'll actually bump your roll up. We'll add your armor as a bonus to your roll.
Okay. So we both would. Well, I would have had a 7. I'm assuming Smokey's got armor too.
Yeah.
So in that instance, that actually would have bumped both of you to a yes, but because you have so all 3 of you would actually be on the same level at that point.
Okay, yeah. So we just get up over the top when.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just make it over the top. All right. So retcon, wipe all that out.
I mean, it's fine the other way too. If we took all the damage, because also the explosion is more of a concussive blast, and the armor is not going to help that.
Right.
That's the other.
Well,
thing,
I mean,
right?
it protects it still protects you regardless, right? So
it really doesn't. But yeah, okay.
it does. Listen, narrative mechanics, you
Yeah.
find
Yeah,
a
yeah,
way
yeah.
to blend them together.
Yeah,
This is how we're doing it.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so the
plus, I mean,
amount.
it's not like it's not like it's not like Kevlar vest or something like that won't, like, you are in a full contained suit, right? That is pressurized and everything like that. So
Sure,
a
sure,
concussive blast also could theoretically be protected by that as well.
So just from a stat standpoint, and we're talking about the the rolls and things, the amount
Yes.
of armor doesn't matter for this roll. It's just we have armor, right?
Well, no, in this case, the amount of armor will matter. So how much
Okay,
armor do you have?
I have +3. It says.
Oh shit!
Holy crap! Wow.
No wonder you're so fucking slow.
All right.
Because I'm just trying to think.
So
Yeah, because there's a +1 armor shield I have that I added on.
mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not.
Well, so in that instance, you won't actually like have your shield out, so
Okay.
that's not going to necessarily
That's
count.
not going to matter.
But
so that
yeah,
be
so we'll
+2
count you
then.
as a +2 then. So you
Yeah,
actually
that's fine.
got a yes. You just got straight up yes.
Okay,
So you're good.
cool.
So so I'm still dangling over the edge when the explosion goes off. Like he gets up
Exactly,
and
yeah.
I
out.
thought I hoofed you over, but there's still a little
Yeah,
dangly
yeah.
bit that.
Exactly. Yep.
Well,
All right.
this is
so,
good because if we stayed with the other ones, my hand was going to be, we were on the right side of the collapse, so we weren't going to.
All right, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, so what we'll do then is, so there is this blast that goes off. You hear the tings and everything of shrapnel hitting you, but nothing actually pierces you. The concussive blast is kind of knock you forward, so you're knocked down onto the ground, but luckily no damage is actually done. However, with him being so near the tunnel and near the kind of structural entrance of it, when that blast goes off, the ceiling and everything around there completely collapses, blocking off the entrance to the platform now.
Back from where we came, right?
Yeah.
From where you
behind
came,
us.
yeah.
Where we
Yeah, so
just
you
came
are
in,
now
yeah.
on the platform in pitch black. Your headlights, your headlamps are kind of like flickering in place at this moment. Huxley, one of yours is actually broken, so you have just like one headlight at this point
skewed
from when he
it's
smashed
pointed.
on you, right? And yeah, at this moment now, you're unless you actually take the time and effort to clear out this tunnel, which who knows how long it would take, and even if it would be safe at that point, your exit back out of entrance E is useless at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
give Smokey enough time, it won't be useless, but now's not the time. So just from my edification to make sure I didn't bodge anything. So obviously, Jesse, you have my sheet. So whenever you get, so my shielding is plascrete. So I just want to make sure I didn't overstat myself.
Nope,
Okay.
You're perfectly fine.
So the
Yep.
plascrete, okay, and then the +1 armor shield would be the 3. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So yeah, Smokey looks back wistfully and says, thinking to himself, oh, I could get through that. That's no problem. But obviously he's got bigger fish to fry now. So he kind of looks down to Huxley, finishes pulling him up, onto the level. While he's pulling him up, he's looking to see if he can see Zuchy anywhere. And he's just going to say, are you all right? How are you doing, Huxley?
What? And he's hold his head, but like he can't because he's in the suit. But like he's just got a hand to his head, and it's just like just has like a slow wobble that you pulled him up to his feet.
Maybe we should come up with some kind of signal that when to turn off our microphones and comms whenever this stuff happens. Come up with a hand signal. I'm assuming we're both going to be sitting down kind of on the edge. I just keep looking around to see if Zuchy's all right, and I'll call out Zuchy's name to make sure he hasn't run off too far.
He left. He doesn't want to be by you guys anymore.
These guys are crazy.
Yeah. So he you can kind of see him walking back, and he says in a very like a really low voice, he's like, Hux, how are you doing, Huxley?
Indoor voice.
I guess if it's coming through the suit, he's like, what? My head. He hit me in the head. Why? What did he hit me in that? Oh, my neck. Oh, and he's like trying to roll, as much as you can, like, roll your neck in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel too good. And he just like kind of flops down on the ground, like on his butt. And he's just sort of sitting there.
Yeah.
I don't know, kid. You took a hell of a shot, and you're still kind of standing. So that was pretty impressive. And then Smokey will look back to Zuchy and say, that move was pretty impressive too. I've got to hand it to you.
Well, when that thing, whatever it was, pissed me off, you got to do what you got to do.
So do we know what it is, right? It was like a big goopy thing that was trying to kill us. Do us as characters know what that is? Or do we just know this big thing trying to kill us?
Go ahead and give me a brains check. Just a general brains roll, and let's say it's a DL4.
Okay, so also obviously my negatives aren't there because we retconned that, right? I just want to make sure. Not that they were affecting brains. I just wanted to make sure.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can erase all that grace damage.
Yeah. So Kevin as a player, once you said that magic word, I did do a search to make sure that I didn't hear you wrong. So Kevin may know, but I don't know if Smokey
there you go.
knows. So that's why I'm trying to see which way I play this. So you said a brains roll, right?
Yes.
4.
That is a no but. So basically in terms of like a knowledge scale, right? Well, actually, we'll call this like a grade. We'll call this a gradiated check. I like that better. Okay. So it's a 4. So basically, it's almost like a boogeyman to you, right? They talk about the stories that they tell new runner recruits to scare them, right? They tell you about the stories about reavers that hunt down runners and try to take their souls or whatever stupid stuff like that, right? In reality, they're people who survive in the burnt, and they do that primarily by hunting down runners. If they know that there's a known path that runners take, if they can kind of suss that out, they'll set up traps for them and basically try to disable them enough that they can kind of kill the runner without harming the suit.
And I think that fits in, because obviously this is our first run. It's not like Briston would have told us all the horrible things that could happen to us. So having that as like a spooky story kind of fits in, right?
Yeah.
To be on your toes, but we wouldn't get a complete breakdown of this is what it does. This is where they are. This is,
Oh yeah. I mean, plus it changes, it changes from reaver to reaver, depending on who, like what techniques they like to use and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of put 2 and 2 together of like, well, maybe you starting up the tram and running power to this thing was like, hey, this guy knows that somebody came through here, and chances are somebody will come through again now. So
yeah, so that I think that works really good. So Smokey will say to the other 2 guys, looks like some of those fairy stories that Briston told us looks like they're actually true. We just ran into one.
What happened? What happened to that guy?
I think he brought down the tunnel on top of him after Zuchy knocked him down.
Like he just shakes his head. Like he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Like if we're safe for the moment, then like I guess that's enough.
Yeah. Zuchy's like, big guy go boom boom.
Very much so. See, that's why whenever you guys see me working with any blast paste, make sure my hands are out to my side and I don't have an itch I got to scratch while I've got blast paste on me. And Smokey will say this is. We'll have to check when we get back that what we were told about these things are kind of true. So we'll have to double check with to see if they keep track of them or there's some kind of count on them, because we don't know. We were just told these things are out there. We don't know if they're organized or, any of that kind of thing. So we'll just say there may be a checklist somewhere of one reaver down in this area. Maybe there's some kind of a butcher's bill somewhere that people are marking down. So let's just make sure that, we tell them whenever we tell them of our great secret of kind of a tram with, I guess, half a tunnel now, that there was something in there that attacked us that we took care of.
Do you think there's more?
That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. I was thinking before I forgot to yell. So Smokey will whip his head around and I don't see anything at the moment, but I guess it would be well to be a bit extra careful now that we know these kind of things are out here. His eyes dart around a little bit, looking towards the wall, right? Because it came out from the wall. So Smokey's staring at that wall again.
Yep. On
the opposite side of the tram.
Yeah, and you can at this point now you see that it's basically like an entrance tunnel to the mega mall itself, off the platform and into the mall that he must have been kind of camped out in.
Do we want to go do some snooping down that tunnel, or should we get our asses moving onto the tram?
I think we should go.
I think the way Huxley is feeling right now, I don't think we need to take any chances.
Probably right. So, Smokey will kind of, because we were all, I guess, sitting down or whatever. So Smokey will kind of start grunting and groaning and getting up to his feet and say, guess better get moving. If there are any more of these out here, let's get as far away from them as we can.
Huxley stands and then takes a couple of wonky steps, kind of stumbles a little bit, and then just he's moving slow, but he's moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say I would just be standing next to Huxley in case he needs a bit of steadying as we're walking forward.
Does it look like the tram is working? I know that all the lights and stuff are out, but is the power to the tram?
From the outside, it's difficult to tell. You don't see any of the lights on inside the tram. So it's difficult to see if anything is actually running at the moment.
Okay. I'll say to
it's still there though, and the doors are closed.
Mm-hmm.
And it is still sitting on the platform where you left it, at least.
Okay. Well, Zuchy will say to Huxley, Hux, do you think you can just maybe tell if this thing will be operational from the outside? I'm going to take a look. I'm going to go take a look really quick to see if anything is lurking on the inside.
I could take a look. I'm not sure. And he leans on the nose of the thing and kind of looks to see is it on the track? Is it is there if there's an electrical connection a streetcar kind of thing, if it's connected, he's looking but he's not really.
Yeah. Yeah,
something real obvious.
It looks right. So it's like a subway train, right? So You have your electrified third rail and all that kind of stuff, except it's like futuristic, so it's probably like a hover, like a maglev bullet train type situation. So, but yeah, you kind of look and it looks pretty much just like how you left it. Where's Zuchy going to look into this thing?
He probably would go by the. I don't know. So it's like you're thinking it's like a bullet train or something like that. So it's got like the back end is going to have like a big window, and then there's probably going to be like a door to get in and stuff like that, and that's closed.
Absolutely, yeah. Think of your normal kind of metro train where tons of windows on the side, like a door every 10 feet type of situation.
Okay.
So, and it's like the sliding doors. So,
okay. So I think that probably what he would do is he would probably go by the back window, even though it's not going to tell everything, but he'd probably go by that back window and just kind of shine the lights in there and just see if he can see any movement at all.
Sure. All right. Yeah. So if you kind of look in, it's almost like a dual engine compartment situation. So you kind of walk around. So Huxley is back at the front of it, or the front where that pulled in. And so you're kind of walking down to the opposite side of it to look at that side. And as you look in, it seems filthy. But it doesn't appear as though you're able to kind of lean and shine your light down at least into that first car, and it looks empty.
So then Zuchy would turn around and say, well, from my vantage point, and it's just down the first car, I don't see anything. But that doesn't mean that there's not something lurking in this train.
Everything looks okay out here. It looks like it should work.
Let's get in and let's get Huxley off his feet and get him to sit down and rest for a bit, and we'll see if we can get this thing moving back the other way. So, Smokey will go. Can't remember how the door opened, but he'll go to where the door is and open it, whether we prod it open, pulled it apart.
Yeah, it's basically like a double sliding door opens like that.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, yeah. So Smokey walks out, and as soon as you walk in, you're getting ready to like pry the door open or anything. You go to reach, and as soon as you walk in front of it, you kind of hear they kind of metal on metal sound as the two doors slide open slowly, and you just hear this gruff, like kind of as the chimes go off, as now all the doors on the train open, and like flickering lights begin to kind of sporadically come up into the compartments.
And Smokey will clap his hands and say, "Oh, looks like it's working. Let's get in." But Smokey will go in first and look around real quick while he's walking in.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Zuchy would probably take Huxley and by the arm and just try to get him in there.
Yeah, you like drop me down into a seat, and he kind of like leans up against the window, and he's, I don't feel real good. I'm really kind of tired.
Zuchy right away is like, "Don't you dare fall asleep on me. You hear me?" And he doesn't like do anything like bad, but he like takes his finger and just kind of boop 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 and kind of just kind of like gives him a little bit of like a, "You better stay awake, goddammit."
Like just
and
tapping
like jerks,
on the glass.
Yeah, hits his head on the window.
So what would, I'm trying to think of the thing, where you're obviously, if you have a concussion, you don't want to go to sleep and you want to get people to try to stay awake, get someone talking, or, I'm trying to think, what could Smokey ask Huxley of, like, okay, recite something or tell us something, just something that would be kind of rote for Huxley. that he could just like, even like in a half days, he could, start talking about. Shit.
Shit. I don't know how
You
well
know what I
do you
mean?
know
Like,
me.
That's what I mean. What were all your classes in high school? Something like that. It's just something that's rote that you could recite back to us, so we could keep you, attentive. Shit. Medical stuff, right? You're kind of a medical guy.
There you go.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Can you name all the bones in the body? There you go. Something like that. Right? all the different muscle groups on a body, or just something like that to keep you talking, something you would know that you could just spit, kind of spit back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he I mean, he thinks about it for a minute. He's, it's kind of weird, but I don't know. Like, if you flange your fingers and your hand bones and
your teeth
arm,
bones, your head
got
bones.
2 bones in the arm. Like, he gets some of them, but not really. It's just
He's
like
pointing to all the different areas. Yeah, there you go.
Right.
That one.
And
What's that one again?
at this moment now, you hear. And then the doors just close. And there's a slight jerk of the train as it lifts up off the track slightly. And you hear and you feel the sudden motion as it begins to move down the track.
Huxley almost falls off of the bench. It starts to pull forward.
Yeah.
He starts to.
How long did we say? I know we said how long this cuts off our trip. The time off our trip. But how long is the actual us riding the tram?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's not. Gotcha.
Come on, futuristic bullet train. It's gonna go fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the 1 hour we get cut off from our trip is just all the walking around, getting to it, and finding it.
Exactly.
But the actual
yeah.
tram
It would
itself
take
isn't an hour.
Yeah, it would take you, if you were to walk from station to station down the tracks, it would take you an hour.
Okay, gotcha.
Unless it was Smokey, then it would take an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that extra shielding came in handy. So
That's right.
Right, there you go.
Cool. Yeah. So while it's going and Huxley's reciting all the different bones, he counts each rib separately. Rib.
Big rib and a little rib.
That one Adam gave
Big
me.
rib.
Yeah, exactly.
Zuchy doesn't know any of that, so he's like, "Oh, that's that." Now I'm learning some stuff. Cool.
Pork ribs,
Baby back ribs.
baby back ribs. All right, so yeah, by the time Huxley is done naming all the different types of ribs, the train pulls into the station and kind of like with a jolt as it reaches the platform, and just the electricity just kind of cuts out for the track, and it just hits and goes like drops 6 inches and then just goes and grinds against the track for about 5 meters before it jerks to a stop.
So after all that shaking around, Smokey will say, "Well, it looks like we found a way to cut the time for people who may want to come here in the future. But now we've got 2 points: A, the other end's blocked off, and B, they may have to walk the tram tunnel and not take the tram. So we'll have to let them know that after this grinding, and I don't know how much juice was left in this thing, but at least we found a shortcut we could walk through."
Don't forget about the monster guy, because they're in there too.
That's actually a good point. Before anybody leaves this tram, let's take a minute. Huxley, why don't you sit here and rest a little bit, and Zuchy and I will peek our head out to make sure there's not a matching one on the other end here.
Okay.
I'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, if we try to doors open and peek my head out and maybe start doing a search of the air to make sure nothing else jumps out at us.
Sounds good. Yeah, as soon as you reach the platform, again you hear the and the stores just kind of and they open about halfway before stopping.
We have to wedge our way through. But yeah, so Smokey will kind of force the door open a bit and kind of step out and not go any. He's still kind of half in to the train car, but he'll start looking around.
There you go. You still have the rifle on you. Do you want to kind of use that to scope around, or?
While we were walking, Smokey wouldn't have given it back to Huxley, any more weight added onto him at the moment.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
didn't seem like a good idea. So I'll just have it just because of that. Right, I didn't want to.
Sounds good. All right. So why don't you give me a brains check to kind of look around, make sure there's nothing waiting for you on this side.
5.
All right. Oh yeah, that's a yes and. So there is nothing. This platform looks just like how you left it. Doesn't appear as though it's been tampered with, and you don't hear any sounds or tracks or anything like that.
So obviously Smokey's going to learn his lesson from the other side, because he was staring at the tram and not the wall, and he saw that kind of passageway that the thing came out of. So he'll scan down the walls just to make sure there aren't any openings, or if there are an opening, that it's not that it's light, right? Because we said lights are out, but there's a clear path. If there is one, he can see down that there's nothing hiding in it. There's no shadows or anything like that.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah, exactly. You're and you got your headlights on too, so you can glance down a couple of the hallways and you see that it is perfectly clear.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll look back to Zuchy and say, so far so good. We shouldn't have any surprises on this end like on the other end.
Well, that's good to know. And he kind of sighs a little bit and then looks back to Huxley and makes sure that he's still doing okay.
He's just sitting there.
So just as a
falling asleep.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, and when you call him, he jerks like he had started to fall asleep.
Oh no.
Well, so let's do that, right? So each time we say something, so Zuchy and I are looking around, but each time we see something or whatever, we'll shout back just to keep Huxley's attention, right? Yeah. Okay, that hallway looks empty. Huxley, hey Huxley, this other hallway's empty. Just shouting back to get some kind of reaction to him if he hears his voice, just so even if it's just like a murmur or something, we know he's not completely out yet. So I guess the next thing we need to do is do we try to keep moving with Huxley, or
we should probably go home?
A little ways there, buddy.
Yeah, what if we're in the tunnels because we didn't want to be up top and take any kind of radiation or anything? If we did decamp here, I'm trying to think, what time? I guess what time of day really doesn't matter. We don't want to be tromping around in the middle of the night. We've got lights, but it's probably not the best time. And Huxley's not doing super great. And he's the guy that would tell us if it's good to keep moving or rest. We're just going to have to guess ourselves.
Plus, unless you're going to kind of decommission your suit for a period of time, in which case you could still be in your suit and turn the power off. But that means that your actuators and everything like that don't have power, which means your suit cannot move.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to rest and kind of kill the power to your suit, you could, but you'd literally be just like an immobile tin can Either that, or if you did keep the power running, I know Huxley and Zuchy are good on power. Smokey, I think that the shortcut saves you an hour. So you have like an additional hour of power reserve until you're kind of in that trouble territory. So,
but I can squeeze some power from Huxley, right?
I won't be able to make that roll. I have one die to roll. Mechanically speaking, I will not be able to help you probably.
Well, you can still roll a 6 even with one die. It's less likely, but you still can.
Yeah. But do you want to make that? Do you want to make that risk? Because I'm not going to be able to drag you.
No, I think from Smokey's standpoint and from us being runners, right? We're not supposed to stay in the field longer than we have to. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't think we would, if this was the three of us out doing this, we were going camping or something and we got stuck, then we would just stay. But I don't think it's in our mindset, you go out and you get back. There's no sightseeing or dallying. So
I mean, here's the thing too, right? I mean, in the 70s and 80s, guy would have a concussion playing football and he'd be out for a down and they'd stick him back in, right? It's not like he can't run, and maybe I'm playing it up more than needs be because there's no conditions or anything in
Not
core. Not yet. But so, and I didn't lose all 3 of my grace. So technically we can go. Maybe I'd be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But how much time do we have left before we get back to home base?
What do you have? I think maybe 3 hours or so.
Yeah. So technically maybe it's okay if we take Huxley and just go, because resting where we're at right now there's just too much of a chance for us to be kind of sitting ducks almost.
And as I said, I think it's been kind of beat into our heads, right? We go out and do what we have to do and get back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any. Yeah. So I think, as a human, you'd say he's not doing too well. Let's rest a bit. But as runners, it's no, we got to get that. And we've got a delivery to do. Right. So there is all that. So I don't.
And there's probably been stories of like, I had a broken leg, but I had to make the run still.
Yeah, exactly.
You just do it,
We're not softy suburban guys, we're in the post-apocalyptic future. So I don't think getting your bell rung is going to stop any of us. Yeah. I think, I think that would just be that quick looking that, nothing, Huxley, there's stuff, Huxley's arm or leg isn't hanging off. He's a bit woozy, but it's that, okay, well, it's probably a quick decision. Yeah, let's keep going. We're not going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And the suit's doing most of the work, really, too, right? Like it has actuators and all the other stuff. So like you're in the suit, and you're moving the suit, but also like the suit is
walking you to
facilitating all that. Yeah. So he doesn't have to do much.
Yeah, I'm sure the decision to keep going was pretty much split second compared to what we talked about, but it is.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there just in case. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Cool. Yeah. So let's Huxley, if you're ready, take a deep breath and let's get home.
Okay. It's good. Staggers out of the tram.
Nice.
So basically, as Huxley's doing that, Zuchy kind of turns to Smokey and just kind of does the just make sure we just keep an eye on him.
Yeah. We'll take turns, and one of us will. Or either, have one person out front, maybe just scouting ahead, 10 feet or so or whatever. And then the other one just standing next to Huxley.
Yeah.
Sure he doesn't tip over.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll
somebody around him at all times just to make sure that he, nothing goes wrong.
Yeah. Because normally we'd be like front, middle, back, but we'll just do front and, side by side, and we'll just trade off every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's any work to do, right? But just having a different voice talking to Huxley, maybe it'll keep him alert, just making small talk or whatever, just to, keep his mind focused a bit and switch it up a bit.
Perfect. All right. So you guys climb your way up not that you're necessarily like climbing hands and knees, but you make your way up the other out of the platform, up the escalator section onto entrance A, where you eventually about halfway up see the break of light from the sky, making your way in, and then you eventually make it out, seeing that small kind of disheveled half wall that separates the parking lot from the main walkways of the mega mall. And yeah, you come to the surface, seeing yet again the vast stretch of discarded parking lot with more buildings, this time kind of like high rises, that are kind of half of them exist at this point. In some manner, the other half act as kind of nice rubble spread out across the ground, and you resurface to this.
Halfway there. Only a little bit more to go, Huxley. We'll be back, and then we've got stories to tell and money to collect and missions to sign up for.
Yep.
Okay, I think I should probably go to the hospital.
That's the first place we'll take you as soon as we get back. Don't you worry.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you begin to pick up speed, eventually reaching your maximum speed, trekking through the fallen buildings and in what small bits of road exist still, until the buildings slowly begin to get smaller and smaller, and you're in kind of an urban housing situation before that gives way to a nice, looks almost like a nature reserve type situation, an overgrown park at this point. And you know that Ingram is now just on the other side of this. The only thing you have to do is make sure you avoid some of the Kodiaks that are still in the heart of mating season at this moment. So as long as Zuchy can kind of give you enough advice on it, and Smokey and Huxley can navigate and shut the fuck up, then you should be good.
So if I were to look for that again, just to make sure, like, we're going the right way, we're not in the path of these Kodiaks, what would I roll for that?
So at this point, I'll tell you first off, it's going to be a DL4 to make it through this zone. And if you have anything like nature or animal animal knowledge, anything like that, that will be able to kind of play into kind of knowing telltale signs of where their territories are and things like that.
So,
plus remember, you do have that 1 point of intel from before as well.
yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it Zuchy that had the information before on the way out?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Okay. So that's I'm assuming a brains roll with those bonuses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it's going to be a brains with a +1 already from the intel, and then whatever skills you have, and just beat a 4.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the animal handling yet. That was kind of something we kind of shoehorned in the first, or kind of made up on the go the first couple episodes. So eventually, when I get the XP enough, I will probably put a point into that. 2 6s, so that makes it a 7.
Oh, that's a yes. And
yeah, so I'm gonna say that we find not only do we find the right path to go through, but it's a quicker shot through than when we had originally. So we even cut time even more.
Nice.
Because of it.
I like it. Yep. You're able to find, you're actually, instead of trying to kind of cut your way through, like almost like forcefully bushwhacking, you actually find a game trail that is probably potentially part game trail, part like used to be like park trail. That's now, but that actually gives you a straight shot that allows you to just full blast run through this area.
Yeah. So basically, Zuchy's like telling like Huxley and Smokey, so you see this track, this used to be a human trail. So when you go through those trails, you unfortunately, we'd leave our garbage, we'd leave our footsteps, and these Kodiaks, even though they can be aggressive during mating season, they just want to avoid you just as much as you'd want to avoid them. So they would never take this kind of track because of our uncivilized ways.
Well,
That
that's
sounds
good.
for the moment. That sounds good. So,
all right. So yeah, you guys end up running for just a little bit longer until eventually, kind of breaking the tree line. You see the siding of the bureau residency inside Ingram, which is this kind of 35-foot tall iron sided wall, and up top you see the opening for the warehouse, and you have your elevators down on the bottom, and it looks like there's a couple of there that you can just kind of run right on and hopefully get yourselves up.
so we made it back. First successful run.
Yep. So we have the sun setting now, a little off to the side. Smokey and Zuchy load Huxley up onto the elevator. Y'all kind of undo your packs, dropping the steel onto the ground, onto the platform of the elevator. And it's just this massive service elevator, basically open air. And the platform kind of starts to like creakily rise up for you.
So we're not in anywhere, we're still suited and booted, right? We're just
Exactly.
we're back
Yeah.
in Ingram. Okay.
Yeah. But you are in Ingram. You are as safe as you can be at this point.
So I'll look over to the other two and say, I don't have any cigars for us to have. And we're not through where we can pop off our helmets, but I do have an extra cigarette for each of you if you want to celebrate. We'll have to scare up some cigars from somewhere else.
You really shouldn't smoke. It's not really good for you.
Yeah, I know. But let's get you looked at first, and then we'll worry about me.
Okay.
I think we should name this episode "Sigh Okay."
Perfect. Yeah, and we get the fade out shot as the elevator kind of hits the top of the warehouse, and the three of you just kind of, especially Huxley, stumbly exit the elevator, making your way back into the warehouse,
leaving the steel in the elevator.
Just drop it there. They can come pick it up later.
Right.
Yeah, we made it to the destination. We don't need to go any further.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, we delivered it.
Hey, good job, guys. You made it.
Woo-hoo, barely.
Barely.
Real quick, let's do some XP. We have for Hux and Smokey 5, Zuchy 6.
Ooh.
Nice.
I'll be sending you an updated sheet, Jesse, after that.
Don't worry about it. So I'll let you. All right. So I didn't want to mess with anything right now while we were kind of like mid-run. I didn't want to bother with like recalculating numbers and doing all that kind of stuff. But within the next probably week and a half, I'll be sending out new stuff. And what I'll probably do is I'll take your suit sheets and redo them with the new rules. And then either, on Discord, I'll go over the info, and then probably at the beginning of next session, I'll just kind of give like a general, like a super brief rundown of the changes.
Okay.
So if you do make any if you do end up spending XP on anything, you can update your character sheet. That's going to be fine. That's going to be untouched. All the rule changes are going to have to do with your suit sheet. So just let me know if you have any plans on upgrading your suit at all. And I'll make the adjustments that way. Okay. But speaking of that respect too, 4 rep for the group. Ooh. However you want to split that up.
4 rep in total.
Yep.
Okay. We could do that on the Discord. I guess it's more of a
exactly
outside recording. Okay, so we'll wrap this up then. So want to thank everybody for checking it out. Thank you for running. Thank you guys for playing.
Thank you guys for running.
We've got a Patreon up if you want to throw a couple of credits our way. That's cool. If not, it's just whatever. Ratings and reviews on iTunes or whatever your podcatcher of choice is. Super helpful. Bumps up in their algorithms and all that kind of stuff. Links in the show notes for not for runners because it's being completely rewritten at this point just about. But for other core products, there's links in the show notes for that. You can find that on Drive-Thru. Kurt's got MFG cast going. We're also running core games over there. There's board game stuff. There's generic fantasy role-playing thing that's happening. There's a bunch of cool stuff going on over there as well. Tracy has a resin shop, so you can buy dice and pops for your phone and all kinds of cool shit over there. So links in the show note for that as well. If you're interested in any of those things, that's super cool. Thank you for doing so. And thanks for checking it out. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go show!
Kurt, did you say you wanted to you're going to take off?
Yeah, I'm going to duck out.
That sounds good. I wanted to make sure so that we don't get into a conversation and then you...
I very much appreciate that because usually I'm like this. I'm like, I can't be rude. I can't be rude. And then after a while, I'm like, I gotta go.
And I feel bad that I don't get to like say bye to you and everything like that. That you just so...
My phone's muted, so I never know. Like you text me, but I don't know, and then I'm like, fuck, Kurt's gone.
Exactly right. I don't notice until all of a sudden your screen goes off, and I'm like, oh fuck it. I'm like, oh, he messaged in the chat. I didn't even see it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oopsie.
Right. It's been fun.
See you later.
Yep.
All right. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Just waiting. All right. I posted in the Discord for the thing 5 XP for.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There we don't lose it.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of runner stuff that happened this session, mainly because of the combat.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, armor gets us every time. Like,
yeah. It's not damage reduction. It's you were correct in
Yeah. But I mean, so here's the thing. It's not damage reduction, right? It adds to your defense.
But I think Todd's given us in the past like the first hit for free. Right? Like in Day Trippers, when we were on INRA, which I guess you weren't a part of that.
I was not. I mean, I listened to it.
Yeah. But I think when Montago, that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
When the crazy doctor came out of the woods, and
Yep.
shot me, the suit shut me down, but I don't think I took any damage because suit.
I
took
think
the
that's
hit.
because of your suit, though. I think that the suit actually has a damage reduction ability, like the Day Tripper suit. I think it actually has something like that.
But I think it's just armor.
Is it?
I think. But runners can be whatever it needs to be.
Well, I think
Right?
it in terms of like mechanically if this was like D&D, right? And people have actually done this rule before. That's been homebrewed where your armor isn't like AC, like you don't have your AC where it's like your 10 plus your dex plus armor, right? What some people have done is 10 plus your dex as your AC, and then armor is actually a damage reduction, right? But you can't really do that in like core.
Everything's
because you usually only take 1 damage, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So having 3 armor, 4 armor is pointless most of the time.
Yeah, it would negate
because
all
you're
damage.
never going to really need to reduce more than 2 damage.
Yeah.
So I think mechanically it does make sense to add it to your defense. It's just something that we need to remember to do.
Yeah. And I'm assuming Todd will watch and thanks for watching, Todd, and then post some comments in the Discord to straighten this out because I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read the beta of Core Complete. So it may be in there. Well, I guess we'll have to revisit that just to make sure.
And it's the first time we've had to use it, right? So we've had a big enough thing where armor could come into play, right? So
well, even in the first combat with the 2 dudes, right? Like, so unless someone gets a yes end, if the runner suit had the armor counts as damage reduction, you could almost never be hurt unless someone gets yes end and uses it for the extra damage.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't seem right. So I think counting it as you're harder to hit, and if they beat that number, then it hits you in a joint, it gets you in a soft spot, it punches through.
Exactly.
It's concussive damage in that it breaks a rib, like it doesn't puncture the suit, but also like it's like wearing Kevlar, you break your ribs or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like that
like
makes
classic,
sense.
Like your traditional armor class.
Yeah. I think that probably makes more sense.
Yeah. And even so to kind of bend this, right? One of the changes I'm planning on making in this next iteration is I'm gonna actually add stat bonuses to the suits. Just physical, right? So mostly just might and grace, right? But what that's going to do is almost so talking about damage reduction, it's kind of going to act like that, right? So you'll have say you have your 3 grace, right? And then your suit adds +1 to grace, right? So now effectively in your suit, you have 4 grace. So you won't take damage until
Suit will take damage.
until the suit has taken that 1 grace.
Mhm.
So it kind of gets around that narrative aspect. So that first point of grace damage is the suit getting damaged.
Right.
And then after that, it's you getting damaged. So
you and I are both moving in some fashion differently towards conditions. So
Mhm.
will the suit then have a condition of, it's slower, it's louder, it's
yeah, basically once your suit takes damage like that, once your suit stat reaches 0, at that point it will be damaged. And you will one aspect of, how like for a person to heal, they have to take time, right? Similarly, in order to repair, you will have to repair your suit in order to get that damage, in order to get that stat bonus back. And until then, you won't be getting the bonus from that suit anymore.
okay. Yeah. So it would
So
necessarily
effectively, you
drop
will
your
be
speed.
slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll dropping your grace, that drops your speed. So
The cheaper suits like what we're running in should probably still be a 0 stat bonus.
yes,
I'm thinking.
yeah,
Yeah. Until
Yeah.
you start to get to those mid and then higher grade.
yeah, exactly,
suits.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised. Yeah, I looked up at the clock at one point and we were like, 42 minutes in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we hadn't gotten anywhere, but also like we'd been playing for almost an hour already.
We spent a lot of time at the entrance of the platform.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Like even before the combat, there was a lot of precaution being taken.
Yeah.
So
well, we made the roll, so it
exactly
also makes sense that would be the case. God, I gotta tell you, I'm having a lot of fun playing Huxley.
Nice.
I mean, go back to your point
than the other characters that you play. So
Yeah.
You were saying about the timing, but it didn't feel like that was empty time, right? Or it was like,
No,
when you said that surprised me that was the case. But yeah, because there is the story and the narrative that we're doing and the interaction, so it's not like we just sat there for 40 minutes trying to look something up and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it does flow pretty well, and that's kind of what you're looking for, right? You're just, we're not trying to, hit all kinds of certain points to get this done, get this done, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't have that feeling of, oh, let's just hurry up and just get to the next thing. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't feel like we were dicking around. Like I didn't get that sense. It surprised me that we had been playing for that long already.
But remember, we do dicking around where it's sticking around in the game, and then there's other times where we just dick around it.
Yeah.
From past experience.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was good. I was like, well, shit, we're still not going to make it back to Ingram. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's why I didn't necessarily hand wave the last zone, but at the same time, I do want that to be an aspect every once in a while, right? Especially since he made such a good roll. Where I want it so that in a run, there's going to be kind of lower threat zones that you're traveling through. And if you're able to roll well enough, that's just what happens, right? But like we've talked about, and so some of the new rules that I'm throwing in there is kind of turning the dial up and down. And so, the first time you went through, using the intel, knowing what to look for, it was a relatively low threat. Next time you went through, though, I cranked the dial up a little bit more. That DL was a little bit harder. Because things are a little bit more active in the zone now, right? There's, mating seasons like in the throngs, everything's going on. But again, you made it through perfectly fine. So if you happen to come back this way, right, that dial's going to get clicked up one extra. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you to go through.
Yeah.
But I want to still give you that chance of like, you know what, you made it. It was a yes and.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just give you the role. Let's give you the applause for making it through, and you get through the zone. That should still be a thing especially when we get to longer runs,
right.
where this time you were only going through 3 zones, but higher level, more higher difficult, have higher level jobs. It's potential that you're going through 6, 7, 8 zones in a burn.
Right.
So to have like a Reaver-esque combat or something that in depth every single time is gonna be exhausting.
Yeah. It'd be difficult to get through.
Right. At that point, you're talking about like a single run taking 4 or 5 sessions, possibly.
Yeah.
And I can see a run taking a couple of sessions. A longer one, maybe 3 if you really want to stretch it out like that.
Right.
But I want there to be the possibility of getting this done in 1, maybe 2 sessions. So obviously with us, we fuck around, we narrate, we like to jab, so it's totally fine.
Right. Yeah, we have nowhere to be. I mean, this is
exactly. Yeah. I expect it could kind of get stretched out a little bit anyway. So
yeah, but I think so. It's for most people that are playing. If that did become a problem, most people would be pretty blatant about it. And I think not that. What am I trying to say? If there was a point where we were dicking around or we weren't moving stuff forward, I think we would all. We wouldn't even have to say it to each other. I think we'd feel it, right? Because we played enough together that if something was becoming an issue. But you said that first half hour, 40 minutes, looking back on it, it didn't feel like that, right? Because we were doing stuff and we were thinking, we were, there wasn't one of us just sitting there for 20 minutes not doing anything. And that's where you run into problems. If stuff's slow and it takes a while, it's fine as long as everybody's involved. If it's just one player, having, doing all, then everyone else starts going, oh, how can I butt in? Or you try to drag them back in, stuff like that. So.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we talk a lot, but it's all in character, right? And it's all purposeful. It's not like we're just, usually, yeah. But it's all, there's at least something to it. We're not just like shooting the shit and
it's all game
doing
stuff.
it for no reason, right?
I mean, even I'm debating on, when we got to the other side of the tunnel, we, had a 5-minute meta conversation. Like, well, I can't help you if you run out of power because, I have 1 fucking brains left or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't even really usually do that too much. And it felt kind of weird because we did do it. And I almost suggested, like, all right, well, we should do this in character. But also, like, whatever. I guess
that was me thinking as I would think, right? And as I said, we're runners. We're not supposed to be dicking around outside of where we need to be. So it wouldn't make sense that we would sleep it off in the tram kind of thing, right? So
I mean, even talking about Huxley being able to set up the jack cable and everything like that, Smokey would probably know, like, he just took a hit to the head. He's pretty out of it. I don't think he's going to be able to mentally do this and fit. Like, do I trust him to do this right now without shorting my system out?
You're like, I could plug the cable in for sure. Like, that's not
right.
But and it's it's fine. Like it's fine, right? It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
But it did feel kind of weird because we usually don't meta.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Right, yeah.
we never do, but
I mean, it's a game with
Yeah, yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
Like, you have to
Yeah.
talk numbers every once in a while. So,
Yeah, but we also don't do, okay, if I do this and I get this roll, then you do that action. We don't do that. So
yeah.
and the only
Yeah.
reason I looked up Reaver is I'm like, okay, did Jesse say Reaver? And I'm like, well, if that's what it is, I'll go look in the book real quick. And then I saw it pop up.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, just want to make sure I heard that right.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's never a like, okay, well, who's gonna make the awareness roll? Who has the better brains? It's like that never happens. So,
and I literally have none of those skills.
I have demolitions and engineering. That's all I have. So.
There you go.
So we're both highly specialized because I have like biology, electronics, mechanical repair, or whatever the fuck we're calling in the system.
You're a med tech.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know if we said this. That's the good thing about core, though, too, right? Because here's an enemy. These are the stats. Like you're playing D&D, you go to the monster manual. If you want to be that cheeky about it, if you're the player, and go, okay, well, this is all the things. With this, it doesn't matter because it's a yes and or no but or no and. That throws out the
role.
Okay. Yeah, exactly, right. And then, knowing what the hit points are in the armor class and all that kind of stuff doesn't matter because you may get a good roll and something happens and who knows what's going to come out of your head or my head with those different options at the end. So,
yeah. Well, talking about skills, because neither one of us really has anything that's useful. So my thought the other night, and I messaged Jesse about it, was to spend points on empathy as a skill, right? Because as a regular human, that is something that you need to work at. It is a skill to be empathetic to people, right? Like not everybody is able to do that. And I could see it being useful like every blue moon to have that skill, right? Like it wouldn't have worked tonight, but if we find someone,
it's true,
right? But we find somebody to scrub, like, hey, this really sucks. I grew up like this too. This is really hard. Almost like in a persuade charm sort of way, without taking like persuade, because he wouldn't have persuade or charm, but I could see him having empathy towards people because he's like wants to be a doctor, like he's quasi a nurse, like he is someone who wants to help people,
and that makes sense for the character and playing it that way too, or not playing it but having that the stat equate to that kind of thing does. I think that works really well. So
well, I'll say too, so it plays, so one of the actually character sheets are going to change slightly, very, very slightly,
because you've uncoupled the skills.
Yes. So two things. I've completely uncoupled skills from stats. Okay. Right. But also I'm moving to a tag-based system. So now there won't be like a specific list of skills. You'll have just either certain things that, if you want to be like a martial artist or just for instance, for the Reaver now, one of their tags is violent, right? So like stuff like that. So for Huxley, right, having the tag of empathy or empathetic or anything like that then allows you to use that tag in various social situations. Right? Either reading somebody's emotions. Obviously not like Deanna Troy, like being able to mentally read somebody. But
sort of like an insight.
But like exactly, like an insight thing of knowing somebody's emotional state, right? Knowing if they're nervous. being able to talk to them on their level in a persuade aspect, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, and initially I wasn't feeling it, but as you kind of described it a couple of times, I was like, all right, yeah, this is absolutely Huxley. And also it plays into how he treated how he treated the runners that they ended up killing,
Yeah.
and how he feels about that as well. Like, you actually show remorse
Right.
about your actions, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I felt like, and I forgot about the whole tag thing. So I'm like, well, shit. Like, is that a skill? And I'm like, well, that's like it's a real people skill. Like that's a real thing.
Right, yeah.
So like, yeah, it probably makes sense, right? It wouldn't be like on the standard list of skills or now tags.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it may not be helpful as we're doing things necessarily, but I also feel like it makes sense for the character to have that.
But I mean, I think it will make it, in terms of getting jobs, in terms of gaining intel, dealing with people in scrubs, and if you come across in the future when you're in the burnt, if you come across other runners, if you come across scrapper, obviously people like the zombies and reavers and things like that are just out for blood, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, no, for
like,
sure.
Yeah, but like people with a modicum of humanity left in them,
Right. And then I become the face again.
But this time in a nice feeling way and not in a cocky way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to be I'll be spending points on that.
Nice.
And I don't feel like that needs like any, I feel like that's a through line for the character. So just like to add that as a skill, I don't feel like changes anything.
No, and I don't think, I don't think it changes. Yeah. It's not changing the way you've been playing him or anything like that. So
no. Yeah. I feel like it's more of like an immersion of that trait of the character into into like numbers.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think I'm sitting at like 20. Oh, I'm sitting at 27. Shit.
Wow.
So definitely
bump empathy up to a +2.
Right. Well, but I'm wondering if, again, like in character, where like this has happened, if then awareness makes more sense. Like, oh shit, people really want to hurt us. I don't understand why, but like this is the thing that's happening.
I could see it being, I mean, you could always put a point, do a +1 in empathy, and also, do you have points in awareness now?
No shooting, no awareness, no athletics.
You can do a point in each then at that point. Yeah, I could see you doing a point in, a +1 in both of those.
Yeah, so. I think that's probably the way it's going to run.
Yeah.
Because it's so.
Oh, is that me or is that John?
Oh, did we lose? No, that's John. That's a good picture of him too. Oh, but yeah, no. So yeah, a handful of the changes that I'm going to be making is where I'm going straight over to a tag system, which is going to be for your life shapers are now going to be like a major tag.
Here
and oh god, there's 2 Johns.
There's two
it's so weird. And then there's going to be skills, and then I'm also now throwing in. We talked about how there isn't currently conditions in core, but I'm going to be throwing in like condition tags.
I've seen some of that. I've seen some of those discussions you guys have been having. So
oh yeah. Yeah, so it's basically going to be like a one frame or like a very short period of time thing.
Yeah.
Like Huxley being concussed, right? So
Cool.
but yeah, so there's that. I'm changing the power reserve system. So it's now no longer just going to be numbers that you count.
Okay.
I'm turning it into more of like a dice pool situation.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, and then there was something else I can't remember. But
Cool.
yeah. So what I'll end up doing is just taking all your suit sheets and updating them with all that new stuff.
Okay.
So, and then throwing them back to y'all.
Sounds good. So just for next month,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a go live the weekend of, what is that? The 18th and the 19th. So I'm going to be I'm not going to be incommunicado. I'm going to be incommunicado for you guys. So I'll be working all weekend. So 18th and 19th, I'm not going to be able to play. Because that kind of just falls
in that case, do we want to try to do that 26th then?
That's fine with me.
So we'll just push it back 1 week.
That sounds fine with me.
Yeah, that should be fine.
I mean, if that's all right, with Kurt.
Yeah.
Because the 18th and 19th I'm working, and then starting the 27th I'm off. So that works fine. If we do that Sunday night, I'm off that Monday. But I'll have a skip, and I'll be clearing out all the shit in my back garden. So
oh, nice.
Wife will be working me all that week.
Hey, you'll be up bright and early. You get out there while it's still cool outside.
Well, and the other thing,
he lives in England. It's always cool outside.
I had to burn. Yeah, exactly. So what was it? A couple weeks ago, I took a week off a couple weeks ago. And then I've got to take another week off because I have to use up all my holidays by the 1st of April. So 27th to the 31st of March will be my last 5 days I could have used up.
Nice. There you go.
It don't work in IT because in IT is all the holidays that everybody has is usually when you do shit. So you can never take them off. So then they've got to burn random bullshit throughout the year.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll be out.
I mean, I'm the same. I'm working retail, especially I'm a toy store. So like,
Christmas.
We're not like, unless I talk to my boss like way ahead of time and we figure out the schedule in advance, like from basically Halloween to from Halloween to Christmas, like there's no taking time off.
Wait till they start doing Christmas in July then too, right?
Right. And then like and it kind of sucks because like we deal with it, but like my wife's a teacher, so she has like the February and April vacation off for us. And so in theory, with her having it off and with the kids having it off, that's when we do stuff.
Yeah.
But that's when I'm the busiest during the spring because all the kids have it off, all the schools have it off. So that's when everybody's at the mall and shopping and doing laser tag and all that kind of stuff. So
So you said your kids were off this week, or are they off next week? Your kids were off this week.
No, they're off. They started. They had last day was Friday, so they have this whole week off.
Because Lauren goes back tomorrow. She had last week off, so she's going to go back.
There we go.
Yeah, so she's not happy about that. I'm like, you're in college. You go like 2 or 3 days a week. It's not like you're going every day. So college, as in British college, not like
uni,
American college. So
yeah,
unis. Yeah, no, she's not at uni yet. She's in college. So.
Yeah.
I guess it would be the equivalent of, junior and senior year, would be the equivalent, but you get a lot more where you don't go every day from like 8 to 3 or whatever. So she goes all day Monday, and then she has half days Tuesday and Thursday. I'm like, dude, you get Fridays off. Yeah. It's not too bad.
I wish.
God,
even when I was in college, my schedule wasn't that good.
When my first 2 years in college, I took a logic class. I don't know why I took a logic class, but it it was Saturdays from 9 till 12.
Ooh.
And that's what my friend said to me. What kind of all your classes start after 10 o'clock and you're done by like 2, not on the weekends for 9 to 12. That was actually fun though, because the teacher was really fun. She was younger, so it was, she wasn't like some old fuddy-duddy lot, and we would bring in donuts and coffee and stuff. So it was, it was fun. But yeah, Logic every Saturday. What an asshole.
Oh. No, my freshman year of college, I had Monday through Thursday art class at 8 a.m. for 3 hours for 4 days. I'm like, and then on Fridays I had, we did art history at 9 for 2 hours. Like,
yeah. See, we had labs first thing in the morning too. So 8 o'clock or
Oof.
whatever, driving an hour to get to school.
Yeah.
So I was up at
man.
5:30 or whatever to get be in class for 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the motherfuckers would complain. Oh, I don't want to take a class on Friday. I go home.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's
Right.
when you're a commuter, you don't have any. Yeah, being a commuter
Yep.
for 4 years, I didn't give a shit about all that. So,
Yep. Oh yeah. I lived on campus, but still, I had a friend who had only had class Monday through Thursday, no classes on Friday, and he was in class on Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 1. And on Tuesday and Thursday from 11 to 2. And that's it. Those are the only classes he had. I was like, you motherfucker, I'm in class 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours every single day at 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you're back in regular school. You're going every day.
Right?
Well, it was easier especially as a commuter, right? To get all your stuff pretty much back to back, or you leave like a gap
Yes.
of an hour so you can get some work done, go
Lunch,
grab
yeah.
something to eat,
Yeah.
and then go home and not have to because you're not coming back. Right?
Right. Yeah.
If you have a
What are you
2-hour
gonna
gap,
do? Sit around for 3 hours?
yeah. If you get a gap like that, you're doing your homework. So because
Yep.
then I was working, right? You don't have fucking time to do that shit later.
Right? No, Amanda, I think her junior year of college, had a semester where for one day during the week, her second to last class was at 3 o'clock, but then she had a tech class that had to be done in the theater. So that was at 7 at night from 7 to 9. So she got out at 3, but then had 4 hours until that extra class, and it was in Boston.
Yeah.
So, it was at that point an hour and a half train ride for her. So she's not coming back home and then going back.
Yeah.
So once a week, she basically sat around. Luckily, she had a friend that had a dorm there too. So every once in a while they'd hang out. But yeah, 4 hours just hanging out, waiting for her next class.
Killing time.
Yep. And then walking through Boston Common at 9 o'clock at night to make it back to the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Crazy.
Yep. It's cool, man. I'm glad I'm old.
There are certain times where I'm glad I'm old. Other times I'm not. But yeah, that's one of them. Getting up and going to school all the time. Well, I guess you're going to get a friggin' work, but what are you going to do?
Right.
At least you get paid for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll double check with Kurt if that day's all right. I mean, the other days, if he wants to go early or whatever, before that was at the 12th or whatever, that should be fine. Yeah. But whatever he says, whatever works for him.
I don't know if we have anything else. When's
That's right.
I can't remember when Day Trippers usually is.
It'll be the 5th.
The 5th? Oh, all right.
I think I already posted something on the Discord. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember.
Yeah. So we have that on the 5th. Nothing on the 12th.
Cool. We'll see what Kurt says.
So, yeah, we can do one or the other.
Sounds good. I'm hop off, guys. I will talk to you later.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
all
good.
right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. That was
Take it
fun.
easy.
See you guys again soon.
All right.
Yes,
See
you
ya.
will.
All right. I guess we'll jump out of here because I guess nobody probably is really going to care about college talk. But
Yeah, good point. Well,
All right.
nothing new for runners this week, but next session you'll hear all about all the new shit. So
tons of stuff.
all the stuff.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Night, folks.